What up, everybody? It is Josh Thomas, aka DFS Up North, here with another Fanshare First Look. We are getting ready for the 3M Open at TPC Twin Cities in my home state of Minnesota. We got a lot of DFS guys here in Minnesota, so it's a little disappointing that we're not going to be able to be at the event this year again. Great time last year there with Matt Wolf getting her done, Bryson making a charge, Colin Morikawa, all these young guys that now we're talking about every single week. These guys were fresh on the scene here last year at the 3M Open. And while I'm a little disappointed that we're not going to be able to be there in person this year with all of the coronavirus stuff going on, I'm not super disappointed about missing out on some of these golfers. Just in the last couple of hours, I've seen 6, 7, like this field wasn't very good to begin with. And now we've seen 6 or 7 guys pull out. We do still get Brooks. We do still get DJ and the Fleet God, Tommy Fleetwood makes his first appearance here of the year on the PGA Tour. So I'm assuming he's flying over, going to play this week, WGC next week, and then roll right into the PGA and the FedEx Cup and the major season here. So we do get to see Fleetwood this week, which is exciting. But it is. It's not the world's best field, but I will say I do think that gives you and me and guys who do a lot of research on this some advantage, because you just have a better idea of maybe who's a good course fit, which we'll talk about here in a second, and who are some of these unheralded names that are ready for a breakout. So without further ado, we're going to get into our Fanshare Sports First Look for the 3M Open course preview. As always, right, we've got big things happening at Fanshare Sports. That new and improved lineup generator was huge this week. If you were going to try to maybe do an AM PM switch, it's possible. I live in Minnesota here. We're looking ahead to next weekend, right? It's looking like Thursday is going to be nice, but it's going to be really hot on the weekend. It's summer in the Midwest, right? You can have huge pop-up storms. We could have a washout one day. There could be wind that comes out of nowhere. So if you want to use that, maybe stack all guys in the AM on Thursday and PM Friday, because there's a storm maybe coming Thursday night, and or the opposite, right? Love using our lineup generator for that. I love setting it for, looking at different ownerships, things like that. And maybe if I don't even use those lineups, right, I'm just using that optimizer to say, like, okay, what's popping in here? What's showing, right? And maybe I can, then I take some of that and use that in my hand builds as well. So using that course suitability metric, it's been right on the money all year. That new form guide has been awesome. I love looking at that every week. Gives me a good idea of kind of just an easy, quick overview to see who's playing well, who's played well here in the past, things like that. The Taking the Pulse GPP article out every week. The Under the Radar Value plays, our showdown model, which has been crushing it. And then, as usual, the best ownership projections in DFS. I think that is going to be hugely important this week. When we have these weak fields, right, we see that ownership really tends to pool on 3 or 4 guys. I can tell you right now that Paul Casey is going to be massively owned this week, even though he missed the cut last week. I would imagine even probably at a high price tag after shooting 80-80 on the week here, DJ is going to be pretty popular. Matt Wolf coming off a win is going to be pretty popular. So definitely something to look at. So TPC Twin Cities is a par 71. It is an Arnold Palmer design, getting ready for the PGA Tour to come here. Tom Lehman came back in and didn't necessarily do many reroutings, but he made it a little more difficult, right? So he really it turned it in from a not a public course, but a course. I almost wanted to call it like a resort course, right? They had big wide fairways, not a ton of bunkering, not super undulating greens. So Tom Lehman came in and really got this ready for PGA Tour. And what we saw last year was that you didn't necessarily, even at 74-41, you didn't necessarily have to be long. Length helped a little bit, but what we saw was that just being in the fairway, giving yourself a chance to attack these greens was huge. We have big green surfaces here at about 6,500 square feet. So we're going to see an increased rate of greens in regulation. But what's going to happen is that guys are going to hit greens in regulation, but then they're going to look at maybe 2-3 putts because these greens are pretty big, right? I'm actually disappointed. One of the guys that just pulled out was Mackenzie Hughes. He's one of an elite long putter. So on these big green surfaces, you want to play guys like that. So again, a little disappointed not to see him here. This is bent grass. We haven't seen bent grass in a few weeks. They played the rough at about three inches last year. I would imagine it'll be somewhere around the same. We had a cut line of -3 last year. So what does that tell you, right? That there's going to be a ton of birdies. 53 players were double digits under par last year. You need to make birdies, and the way to make birdies here is to really crush it strokes gained approach. So what something that we can look at is looking back to this past week at Memorial and who is crushing it approach. Just off the top of my head, looking at from last week, looking at the event averages, you're gonna have guys like Eric Van Rooyen, who I love this week, right? Crushing it approach. Bubba Watson had a great week strokes gained approach. Siwoo Kim had a great week strokes gained approach. Henrik Norlander. So some of these guys that on a very difficult setup really crushed it with their irons, I think are going to translate really well this week in Minnesota. Lots of bunkers and lots of water here. Okay. You can definitely, there's some risk reward with the water, some drivable stuff. There's the last 18, you're really coming around water the whole way. You can get it there with a 3-wood. Typically, if you're going to carry the water on 18, which is a difficult, intense, and really fun shot to see guys take coming in. We saw Wolf and Morikawa and DeChambeau all get it there last year in 2. Again, looking at last year's results, Matty Wolf, 69, 67, 62, 65, right? You look at sort of like Morikawa, right? 68, 66, 64, 66 last year. He was pretty steady, but, you're going to need a low one to really get up there in that, 20 range. So you're going to need a 62. So we want to find guys that are really crushing it birdie or better this week. You look at sort of, Wolf, DeChambeau, Morikawa, Hadwin, Clark, decently long guys, but again, all great iron players, right? Ortiz, elite iron player. Burns, elite iron player. Glover, elite iron player. Joey Garber, where is he? Man, I miss him. Decky, I thought Decky missed the cut here last year, but nope, he was in the top 10. He had a really strong start and kind of faded. Troy Merritt, who I love, is from the area, from Iowa, and played his college golf at Boise State. But before Boise State, he's at a little Division II south of there. So Hovland, again, these guys, the key here, like I said, is really going to be that iron play. Interestingly, right, we had a course that was played an average of -1.54, right? So a stroke and a half under par, and it was a -21 winner. You had 50 some guys, double digits under par, and we had 2 holes on this course that were in the top 50 hardest on tour last year. That doesn't seem to kind of go together here, but when you look at it, it does make sense. Hole 2, you do have water in play, which is why you see that big double bogey. Hole 9, you also have water in play. You see that 26 double bogeys on the week. But hole 9, 502 yard par 4, right, with water. That's a tough hole. The back plays much easier than the front. So if you're watching your guys on Thursday and they're really crushing it and they're on the back, hang on to your butts, right? Because they're going to get onto the front. It's going to play a little bit tougher. If you guys are playing great on the front, then you should be feeling good. Like your guy can go low come Sunday. But again, lots of birdies here, almost 2 times as many birdies as bogeys. And that's going to be, like I said, the key. Round 1 played pretty tough, but after that, we saw this course really get lit up. Round 4, the average score was -2.6 under par, right? And again, looking back, guys are crushing these par 5s, right? 18 is a little bit longer, not as easy, but -2.26, -4.08. What's the 593, right? Minus a half. So again, making hay on these long par 5s. You get 3 of them, not 4, right? We're a par 71. So looking at guys who really are good at par 5s over 550 yards, we can maybe find an edge in there. But then just a pretty... this is a really, really average course. There's some water, there's some bunkers, but for the most part, there's a good mix of holes. It's not something that's going to really, it's not a course where guys come out and go like, oh, wow, right? Like that was a lot of fun, or that was really interesting. It's kind of your standard TPC course, right? TPC Deer Run, Summerlin, they all kind of look the same. Not super wide fairways, but not really penalizing rough. bigger undulating greens. Because these courses really aren't, I mean, the only TPC that really is anything that's Pete Dye, right? We saw the Corn Ferry guys play TPC San Antonio this week. That's going to be a very similar type setup to here. So not something that's crazy. So looking at, sort of TPC history, you can, like I said, all these courses do kind of correlate a little. They're very similar outside of like Sawgrass. So seeing who plays well on these TBC courses, I think is a good thing to do. Again, you can if you're a Fanshare Pro member, you can look at this stuff up on in our research section for Fanshare Pro members. So Will Gordon obviously just crushed at TPC River Highlands, so he's going to be at the top here at the Travelers, but he is in the field again this week. I think that he's going to be an excellent play depending on price. I think we probably see him get priced up too much here. DJ, like I said, pretty one of the big names here. He shot 80 on the weekend here. He's done well. Abe Answer's not in the field. I don't know why I left him in there. I wish he was, because I think this course sets up great for him. But Fleetwood, right? Coming off a long break, but he really sets up well here. Casey is going to be super chalky. And here's the concern with Casey, is that Casey missed the cut. But Casey missed the cut not because his iron play was really poor, and so was his around the green game. And that's usually two strengths for him. Usually he's an awful putter, but he putted his nuts off on Friday and still missed the cut. So that tells me that there's some sort of issue going on with Casey's game. I have some concerns here, especially if he's going to get chalky going into the week. I think Rafa Cabrera Bello makes a lot of sense. Brooks, Charles Howell, like we're going to talk about easy courses here in a minute. You in that research station, you can sort by, easy, hard, very easy, medium set type courses. So what I did is I just clicked in all the very easy and easy courses. So you're going to have TPC Deer Run, where they play the John Deere Classic, the RSM, right, at St. Simon's, or down in Georgia there. We've got Sanderson Farms, all these sort of easy events where there's really, really high scoring. And you can go through and sort by that and then see who scores well. And Charles Howell is going to be one of those guys that really pops up here. But Matt Wolf, 7 appearances, really crushed these easy courses. Dustin Johnson, Tony Finau, who is in the field this week, as long as he doesn't pull out. Glover, Fleetwood. Chase Koepka keeps showing up because he's got one event. I don't even know where that is. We're not playing Chase Koepka this week. Do not play Chase Koepka this week. Casey again shows up. Charles Howell's a guy that I really like this week. And a Hudson Swafford, a guy that's super long, decent iron player. And if he putts a little bit, he's going to be in good shape. So my picks for the week, all right. Like I said, I really like Erik van Rooyen. I think that he's an elite iron player. He played his college golf at the University of Minnesota, so he's familiar with the area. This is a little bit of a homecoming. He can score like crazy when he's hot. So these he does tend to show up in some of these hard events, these majors, but I do think that this course really sets up well for his type of game. We're likely to get that 50, 60 sort of odds here. I'm assuming he's going to be priced somewhere in 8.4, 8.6K, 8.5K. Probably will be sort of chalky, but I'm definitely going to be all aboard Erik van Rooyen this week. Chalk Donkey, Paul Casey. Just think, like I said, there's some issues with his game, right? If he's really putting well and the rest of his game, there's something going on here. I think that he's going to probably be in that 9.5, 9.6 balanced sort of build range and going to be pushing 20, 25% owned. If that's the case, I'll play him in cash. I'll fade him everywhere else. And that's a strategy that I think that maybe people don't use enough, is that guys are high owned for a reason, right? So if Paul Casey's 25, 30% owned, it's because he's a good play. Statistically, long-term, he's a great play. Play him in your cash lineups, right? Because if he's 25, 30 in GPP, what's he going to be in cash? He's going to be 50. He's going to be 60. Playing a guy like that in cash, it's a block, right? You're just blocking everybody else. So if he goes off, great. You're still alive. If he shoots 1,000, great. It doesn't matter because 60% or 70% of the field had him, right? So using those guys as sort of blocks and cash and maybe hedging there is, in my opinion, a really smart DFS strategy that not enough guys use. Sleeper this week, played really well here last year. He was a core play for me last week, and really I thought looked great on Thursday. Really fell apart come Friday. But it's Troy Merritt, again, a guy with a local connection. He's a good iron player, and again at these birdie fests, sometimes you just need to get guys who are hot putters, and Merritt is a guy who typically really putts well all the time. So I like Merritt as a potential sleeper this week. Especially coming off a miscut. As always, give us a follow on Twitter, DFS Up North, Fanshare Sports, DK Golf Bargains, Lunas, DK DFS Strength. You can use that code Josh for 20% off a Fanshare Pro membership. What are you waiting for? Do not waste another minute, right? Everything you need is here at Fanshare Sports. I'm so proud of the product that we put out every week and the content that we put out every week. Our Discord chat is always hopping with guys giving new plays. So make sure that it's such a great value for the price. And then you use that code Josh and you get 20% off of that. So again, be on the lookout. Lee should have us under the value radar or under the radar value picks up later this week. All Lunas will have, the ownership first round of projections probably up on Tuesday morning. I will have under the radar my GPP ownership taking the Pulse article out on Wednesday. DKDFS Strength will have that form guide out probably right away as soon as pricing comes out tomorrow. So get involved. Love to see you guys in there, and I look forward to chatting with you.